What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Talks with Ty. First, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Most of all, I want to thank my guests. Shout out and show your love for Weez, the creative, the entrepreneur, the artist behind Original Distinct. How you feeling, brother?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
For real. For real. I'm glad you made it. My man looking fly, as you can see.
You know.
As you can see.
We in the building.
We're gonna have to bring the drip cam off of him because listen, he said if he gonna come through here, it's the only way he gonna come through is in that Original Distinct. You feel me? Like
that's how you gotta do it. That's how you gotta do it. Let's go.
I love that. So you already know before we get into things, we gotta toast up to the day, raise the glasses to more life, to more money. Yes, and, you know, to just more love in the world, man. Just that's what we're going to toast to today. So, again, I just want to thank you so much for, taking the time to show love to the show and everything. But I want to get to you and everything that you do because before we even get into it, let me just say, before I even met Weez, I had did like a shoot for Talks with Ty for like one of my promotional shoot. And my photographer, that's how we connected. He was you seen the picture. He was like, yo, I painted that. I'm like, yo, I never knew you.
That's fire.
I'm gonna put that picture in here so y'all can see. But like, bro, like your art is amazing. You know what I mean? And that's just like outside of like your designing, but it's just like your art is amazing too.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
You.
So one of my first questions was, what was your first love? Was it art or fashion?
I mean, creativity. I mean, for me, I don't even consider myself like a fashion guy. I'm just an artist.
Oh, period.
And I apply it to anything I design with, from canvases to sneakers to jackets to watches to merchandise, period. Right. It's all art to me.
I love that, man. I truly do. And does that art plays into how you create some of your designs for your fashion? Because that's another thing I got to touch on is when I see somebody, they go out and do something and I pay attention to detail, you know what I mean? And I feel like with your brand thoroughly is like very detailed, you know what I mean? Within the wording, you know what I mean? The colors, you know what I mean? How you put things together is with not just the look, but the shoe or jacket itself, or just like things you put out. Like I definitely been seeing them, man. And I definitely have to speak on that because I feel like that's an inspiration in itself where somebody can do something and they put time and effort into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was more than like just like I'm going to put two and two together. Like this was actually thought out.
Yeah, we want to do classic but distinct stuff. Like, period. You know, whatever pieces that we designing, we want to reference something that's classic but had that distinct edge where it make us stand out, you know? We're here to stand out, you know, not to fit in.
No, so. I love that. What makes you take that creative avenue that you do take with some of your designs and your looks and stuff like that?
I mean, with me, I just represent being distinct, you know? Okay. And that's the model for anything I design. It got to be originally distinct, you know, even with the sneakers. The sneakers is a mesh in between the YSL and the Jordan, but at the end of the day, it's originally distinct. You know, people will look at it and be like, yo, last night I was at the event and dude seen the shoes on my feet. He like, yo, that's hard. Like shoes are hard to do and have people want to wear them. And just having that model of just the classic, giving the classic feel, but also giving your own identity and spark is what, you know, people can relate to when they want. So that's how that's the whole mindset behind designing for me, at least, just being distinct and having that edge.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that you keep saying, I love that you even chose the name Original Distinct. What does that mean to you and why did you choose that name for your brand and your artistry, right?
Yeah. For me, being distinct is something I embrace. You know, growing up in a city where a lot of people may not be exposed to creativity or just embracing the inner creativity, they may look at it as weird. So for me, I just looked at it as it gave me an edge. It gave me a advantage. Okay. So I embraced that, you know, being distinct. And that's how I live.
I love that. Growing up, like, are you from Philadelphia? Like, have you always had outlets that you had to create? Like, what outlets did you have growing up where you had the opportunity to create? Like, was it at home, just painting, or?
I mean, just like before I even knew I was an artist, I used to be in the house tracing shit or like just drawing, and it went from that. And then, but the normal outlet growing up in Philadelphia, besides just being creative, is sports. Sports and just going to the recreation center, playing basketball. That was the outlet until I really went through trial and error to really embrace creativity and find it like, yo, this is me. This is what I'm rocking with. This is what I'm sticking with.
I love that. And like, when did you know it was that, like, this is what you wanted to do? As like when you first started your artistry and then you got into designing and you just knew like it made you happy. And it's just like, you know what, I'm not going to do nothing else, because I know sometimes it can be a little bit hard finding that space of like, am I going to put my all into this right now?
At first I was juggling. Like, you know, it was more, I started off, I was throwing parties.
I've seen that too. I've been to one, shout out to your girl as well. Cause I remember y'all had the BU Society. I've been to one of y'all events, really dope. I was the, what was that night? I was like the art muse. It was an interesting event. It was an interesting event. So I have to say that. So shout out.
Oh, for sure. Like, you know, but just having trials and errors, you know, I was throwing parties. I got to a point where I didn't like throwing parties no more, but I was seeing everybody in the club with brands on. This was when I really started getting into streetwear. And I was like, yo, I want people to be in the club or in an event wearing my stuff. So then I took that approach and I took it up to Lincoln, where I went to school at, and I got embraced up Lincoln. And a lot of people just wearing my stuff and doing everything that I envisioned. But I still was one foot out. You know, you'd be like, yo, I want to design, but then I want to do real estate, or I want to have a job on the side.
Right.
But once I really got to the point where I was like, I told myself that I'm an artist and I don't want to be remembered as just designing t-shirts and merch. It was like, I'm an artist. And I really started expressing myself on canvas. Then I seen that different response from the people. And I'm like, this is it. You know, so I just kept on going with that. And then I just had an epiphany like, yo, just put your all into this and see where it take you. So I got to a point where I was comfortable with just doing the regular shit, like putting my logos on hoodies, putting my logos on sweatpants or whatever. And I had to take a step back and say, look, I'm going to take this step back and I'm going to invest my time and energy into the quality and to really working with manufacturers. And then the doors just kept opening. And now it's like, this is what you put all your energy into.
I love that. What can you say gave you that confidence in knowing that like what you was doing was what you was meant to be doing?
What gave me, just the embracement, like just the people just embracing it. And then me, I'm already entrepreneurial. So I learned how to move with the entrepreneurial mindset, but also when shit not working, don't get discouraged. You know, use it as fuel. Try to figure it out. Right. It's like a math problem. So I was already conditioned to that. So it's easy for me now to just put my all into my brand, into my art. And if, you know, sales don't happen for a few days or whatever, we gonna figure it out.
Right.
You know, it's like solving problems constantly. And, you know, but I'm doing what I love, which is creativity.
No, I love that, man, for sure. Because I know how, like, I would say difficult it can be, or just like not as easy to get in that like high place of like, this is that clarity place also. Like, this is what I know I want to do. This is what I'm going to put my all into right now and just be locked in. You know what I mean? But in that process of like you navigating through all of that, just like figuring it out, problem solving, you know what I mean? Just putting things together. Like, what can you say was one of the key things that you really felt like you faced but learned through? You know what I mean? Like, what is one of the things you can give to someone, you know what I mean, who probably could be in a similar space of, you know what I mean, designing, stepping back a little bit, figuring out like maybe I should do things differently. You know what I mean? Maybe I should call somebody. You know what I mean? What was one of the key things you felt like you learned in that?
I think when whatever you're doing, you're gonna know when it hits. Like you're gonna know if this is for you, or if you just like, you just doing it to be doing it. And for me with art, it's really embracing my imagination. So I got to a point where the shit that I was imagining, like just having fun with it, feeling like a kid, and seeing the people connect to it. But I think whatever it is that you're doing or what you're aspiring to do, it's going to be a point where the intuition is going to come to you like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Let me turn it up, and the more consistent that you are with it, the more blessings and the world is just going to keep on bringing you. So that's what I would say. And just believe in your imagination. And that's it, but make sure it's something that you're true to. Not something that is like, oh, I seen this guy do it and I know I can do it too. It's okay to be inspired, but just make sure you're true to it and whatever you're doing.
I got you.
And the people going to see that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And shout out to all the designers and entrepreneurs, everybody just out there taking this step, because it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's not easy. I think that the first thing about it is just taking that step.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to Weez about, him taking that step, and with just designers and all, like, when you designing something, we know it's a lot of creative processes that goes into the whole process alone. But I definitely have to give you your flowers for just making sure that Original Distinct was definitely distinct. It was something different. You know what I mean? It was outside of the box. You know what I mean?
And that's what it is too. Thank you. And sorry for cutting you off.
You good.
Originally Distinct is me. It's really me embracing who I am.
Wow.
So that can't really be duplicated. That gives me edge because it's who I am, So that's what I'm really grateful for. And I really got a chance to just create an identity, because that's important. When people walking past your stuff and they see your work, you want people to know that it's yours. You want people to be like, yo, that's some Originally Distinct shit, or whatever. And I'm grateful for that. Because me embracing who I am and embracing my distinctiveness comes out on the canvas, comes out on the shoe, comes out on the jacket. So that's what gives us that edge.
Yeah. Have you ever had any like difficult times in this process where, maybe it could have been a mental space for you where you was just like, you know what, I just need a mental break for a second, or you know what I mean? Or people around you? Like, has you ever had any difficulties?
I mean, you're going to come to points where we human, right? You're going to come to points where you just overthinking, you just questioning yourself, you don't know. And look, it happens to me. Like, for instance, like when the guy told me everybody can't do a sneaker, that's true. So it's true, right? But with the watch, I designed the watch. And the watch wasn't really for me. It's something that I got to keep on digging into.
Right.
So right now, it's something that I got to keep on learning about, because people are really cognizant, just like what you put on your feet, what they put on their wrist. So, you just got to constantly be learning. Just be a student. And I think that's what's really important. If you really want to be great at something, just study the greats, but be a student, and then also find out what you can add, what value you can add to the game.
I love that. No, that was some words right there, Weez. I felt that one. No, for
Let's
real.
Go. Let's go.
Now I didn't even know you did watches. So what is everything that Original Distinct has got go out? You got the shoes, the jackets, the watches.
You can't put us in the box.
We ain't putting y'all in no box. We just seeing y'all everywhere,
all around.
It's just all around. Okay.
Just a world. Like, my vision is like, we creating a world. Just like you see somebody like Travis Scott, Astro World. You feel me? He creating events and creating experiences where he inviting people to his world. Kanye West, Pharrell, so that's how I look at originally distinct.
I can see Pharrell in your designs and stuff like that. I can see that. Like,
thank you.
You know what I mean?
That's a blessing.
I can see Pharrell. All of the people you name, honestly, I can see Kanye West. Like, I can see all of them just like rocking it as like, they're weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, that's the inspiration. And like you never know. We gonna be in meetings. We gonna be in those meetings. So you never know who watching either. So that's real. You never know who watching.
What are your goals for your for like just your brand or just things that you're trying to do? Because I know you probably got so many that you set with like taking your brand to the next level, but even before, I know you said you did events. Are you going back to that one day?
So, right now I'm in the phase of we building the community. We got community, so a lot of like I built my own infrastructure. I got people that subscribe to me that get instant updates. I got people that collect the NFTs. So we gotta, keep on curating for our community.
Yeah.
So that's very important for me.
No, that's important to me too, because I love that you're involving your community in your growth process. Like why does that mean something for you to do?
Because we can't depend on Instagram. We can't depend on these algorithms. We got to know who really bang with us. We got to know who really like what we do.
Yeah.
So, if you just putting your workout on Instagram and, hoping that somebody going to click that link in your bio or hoping that people going to really like it, we can't measure that. We don't know. We got to know who's messing with our products.
Yeah.
Who's engaged.
Yeah.
And we build that community like that. So now it's surety that, this product is a hit, or maybe I need to hit the drawing board again. We need to have direct contact to our people, instead of depending on an Instagram algorithm. So I think that's important for any artist, entrepreneur. Know who your fans are and embrace that. It don't matter if it's 10 people. It don't matter if it's 2. You feel me? It don't matter. You start from somewhere and that list going to keep on growing. So find a way to know who your fans are and, just keep on going in that mission.
Yeah. No, that was
know who your supporters are, for sure.
Yeah, no, I love that. That was a word, because that's so important about just like your audience or people that want to support you. If you don't have that identified, do you really know who you are, what your mission is? You know what I mean? So I think that all goes back to that. Did you have any like inspirations or people that inspired you in this space right now?
On some real, somebody that really made art look fly to me, his name is Albasir Howley. A lot of y'all might know him as Bubonic. He from Southwest Philly as well, but he's out in California. And when I came across him being an artist, a lot of people know him from Philly's Most Wanted as being a rapper. But when I came across his art, he just made it look fly. And it was like, I think certain people may look at artists and put this stigma to artists, but we all got our own taste. Yeah. And when we create an art or creating a product, people should see that.
Yeah.
And he was like one of those guys that made, art look fly to me. And someone that's like, that's relatable. You dig? So on that level, I would say, Basir Howley. But then other than that, like the people I mentioned, earlier.
Yeah.
And then, you got Andy Warhol, you got Basquiat, you got, Keith Haring, you got all of those artists, like, from back in the day as well. But I study artists, Nipsey Hussle, like Nipsey Hussle, Dom Kennedy, guys like Larry June, those guys, they creating their own, they independent artists, but they creating their own lifestyle. And people, they fans are buying into that. That's important, So I study greats.
I love that. I know. I mean, and then when you say Nipsey, was Nipsey a painter?
But Nipsey was an artist and an entrepreneur.
Yeah, he was.
And that's what inspired me about Nip.
I love that.
Other than him being hustle. You feel me? Other than him knowing how to hustle, he was an artist.
Yeah, no, Nipsey Hussle definitely inspired me too, because what he inspired me was for his like influential way of thought. Like, you know what I mean? Like he had the type of mindsets where he wanted to take in as much information as possible. And for me, that's like sometimes that can be forceful, because you know what I mean? It's like, I'd be like, I don't be wanting to learn, but it's like, if you want to go in these different fields and you want to do these different things, you know what I mean? Like you said, you got to study the greats. You got to do your homework. So that was just one of the things that I learned.
And he a game changer, you know, selling the album for $100.
Yeah.
Really finding out how to value your fans, value the people that's really rocking with you.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm glad that you said it, because now that got me thinking, like, from your first start in your process to where you are now, like, you know, what can you tell yourself from when you first started? Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, you got this. Don't stress. Don't doubt it. Because in the beginning of when a lot of people start things, you know, your drive it's on 100 right now because you just want to get it off the ground. But there's so many mistakes that you make along the way that sometimes can deteriorate, you know, your momentum. So like, what could you tell yourself to that beginning?
Yo, you got to start from somewhere. Like, no matter where you start, when you look back, as you keep on elevating, once you look back, that first t-shirt you put out ain't as good as the ones that people buying now. Yeah. You feel me? That first canvas you did, your first episode, you feel me? You're going to look back and be like, yo, I could have did better on this, or damn, this shit was ass. Yeah. So like, yeah, you know, it's just about keep on going and not being hard on yourself. As long as you feel fulfilled with the finished product at that point in time, put it out. Yeah. You know, put it out.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Has it ever been a favorite piece that you designed that you loved the most right now?
I mean, right now, man, my diamonds. You know, there's a lot of, like, shout out to everyone in the Distinct Diamond Club. The Distinct Diamond Club is an NFT project that we started. But the diamonds, they're so simple but elegant. And there's a lot of people that's collecting them and becoming a part of my community. So I'm grateful for that. So right now the diamonds are some of my favorite pieces because there's a lot of people that I admire that's really, you know, buying into it. Wow. And that's what it is.
I love that. I mean, I'm going to have to join this NFT because I don't even know what it is to know everything about NFT, but I know it's like an investment. We don't got to get into it right now, but I'm just saying, I feel like I'm going to have to join the club. You're going to have to, you know, extend my invitation. You know?
And yo, you know, for people that's out there, you know, get into good projects, you know, get into projects that got utility. And if you want to get into something, I know you said investment. It don't gotta, like, just be a part of a community. You don't gotta look at it as an investment. So what we did is to make NFTs relatable and to make people understand them is we pairing them with our physical products. Yeah. So when people buy an NFT, they get the physical item. So now it's like I got a physical item, a physical painting in my house, but now I got the NFT to verify that, help verify the authentication. Wow. That, yo, this is real. Weez go super big and people trying to, you know, remake my diamonds. No. This is the one right here. I bought this back in 2021. Yeah. You feel me? I bought this, you know, this is the official one. So that's what's power in the NFTs.
I love that you took that avenue. Like, how did you even get into that whole NFT avenue with, like, getting them to buy into the product, which is buying into the community?
It's something new, but other than it being something new, you know, you got to figure out. And what I did before I even started the Diamond Club, I had to understand the psychology behind, you know, NFTs and how to make people connect to them. Yes. So for me, making the tangible item be a part of the NFT is very important. Wow. You know, but other than that, you got to do your homework. Yeah. You know, so it was something that, you know, just researching. And look, I uploaded my first NFT and I was just hype. I didn't really understand it. But then you got to fail. Yeah. You know, you got to really fail and do something and then get the learning of it to be like, all right, this is how we going to do it. Right. And that's what I did with it. It's great for artists today where something happened to us, you know, we got some generational wealth. Because once people sell your NFTs, then the artist gets royalties from that every time they trade. You know, so if something happened to me and somebody got a physical painting of mine, and then, you know, they go ahead and sell it for $2 million or $3 million. Now my family don't benefit off of that. Wow. You know, people. So that's the power of an NFT.
Wow. This is what you call a Black, educated, influential, creative man. Okay, that's what you call it. No, I love that because now you're teaching people, you know, financial literacy. You know what I mean? Just ways of connecting and networking. And I feel like a lot of times we get so just consumed with the basis of what's around us and not having people to have conversations like how you have this to like give us new information in order to seek out more. So I definitely gotta also give you your flowers on that of just you know, being aware to help other people be aware. You know what I mean? Because that's what it really boils down to, is just like our exposure and to what we know and what we don't know. Yeah. So
it don't matter how, you know, it don't matter how small you are, or how big or small you are. Just start, you know, and once you start, you're going to really know who really value what you do. I love you that. Dig? Yeah. And that's what it's about. Yeah. It's about the people that value you. It's not about the people that's not supporting you, that's not embracing you. Look, if you keep on going, those people come. Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. The last thing I was going to touch on is shout out to your girl, because I love how y'all dynamic is. Thank you. Y'all create, like, I can just tell, like, y'all creative process together. Like, I wanted to ask was, how does that feel to have, like a partner in that place of which just to add on value to your creativity? Yo, it's everything. You know, it's everything, because at the same time, we got our own minds. Yeah. So it's like when I run something by Bria, and she like, I don't fuck with that. I know it's true. You get what I'm saying? Or I can have dialogue. You feel me? I can have dialogue with her and she can understand my process. It's not like, you know, she going to work and then, you know, coming home, I'm like, yo, how you feel about this? And she just don't know. Yeah. So it's just great to have that relatability. Yeah. And also just, you know, being there for each other. Yeah. You know, helping push each other. Yo, you know, how you feel about this? Yo, look, I feel like this could be this. I feel like, but I like it. I feel like this can be this, or, you know, you can do more on this. Like, you need people in your corner like that. Yeah. And I think it's dope that it's right there for me.
Yeah. No, I'm going to shout out like Black love, but for me, it's a shout out with just real love.
For sure.
That's what it is. For sure. Just having somebody who's like real and just thoroughly, you know, wrapped in with you. But any last words? Put out your socials where they can find you. Put out any last words you want to tell the people, the audience, anything.
Man, Talks with Ty, man. Thank you, man. You know, I was here. You know, I had the Moscato Sangria. You feel me? You know, we in the building. But yo, originally distinct, originallydistinct.com. Yo, originally distinct. You feel me? Just Google it. You might find a soundtrack that pop up on Apple Music. You feel me? There's no box here. You feel me? Let's get it.
Period. Y'all already know what time it is. I just want to thank my guests and just congratulate you on everything that you're doing, everything that you continue to do, and all of your future goals that you have set out. And I know you're going to like exceed beyond, you know what I mean, imagination, and all blessings to your family, your team, your community. Hopefully y'all can be involved, you know, soon. Yeah.
For sure. Shout out Naj in the background. You know, shout out Bria.
Shout out
shout out Baby Jet. You know, shout out everybody. Shout out Ty. Shout out, you know, let's get it.
Shout out to all the real ones.
Shout out to the production. Shout out to
Sabria.
Shout out to Sabria, you know, behind the camera. Let's get it.
Yo. So we gonna see y'all later. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Links at the bottom. Make sure y'all subscribe. And y'all already know we gonna see y'all next time. We out.
Yeah.